I've been playing Minecraft for a really long time. Longer than this, maybe not quite this, but I have been playing for longer than I've been able to form memories, so I can't be sure. Today, I'm going to be rewinding all the way to Beta 1.0 and updating the game with each passing in-game day. Also, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. It took me a very long time to make. I generated the world in Beta 1.0 and immediately got excited about roses. I missed them. It was at this point that I realized I couldn't run because sprinting wasn't in the game yet and wouldn't be for a while. I was exploring and found this crazy bit of world generation, knowing immediately that this is where I would want to build my base. That's when the sun started setting, and like any seasoned Minecraft player, that's when I went to make a bed, but couldn't because they're not in the game yet. I instead had to opt for a little dirt shack that I could wait out the night in, which is truly the most authentic first night in Minecraft. Also, food doesn't stack in this version. The sun rises on Beta 1.1, which changed basically nothing. There's a creeper right outside the door, and I didn't want it to detonate my beautiful dirt home, so I had to go with some advanced maneuvers to kill it. I finished my very rudimentary landscaping job and went down to get more cobblestone, but quickly changed my mind when the sun started aggressively ticking down. There's no smooth lighting, so darkness just envelops the world bit by bit. It's genuinely terrifying. And I had to wait out the night again. Beta 1.2 added new types of wood. Kind of, not really. The addition of these new trees broke the ones that were already here. I went outside and there were so many creepers that were so fast. I tried to fight them off, but died instead. The silly thing about this version is that you can't run, but mobs can. I replaced all the gear that I lost, and the day was over as soon as it began. Don't ask why I made my nightly shelter out of wool this time around. I don't have an answer for you. Beta 1.3 added beds, thank God. The world looked a little bit less saturated, too, and I don't know if that was an improvement or not. I spent pretty much the entire day just gathering resources. When the sun ticked down this time around, I was finally able to sleep in my bed, cozy and tucked in, passing the night into Beta 1.4. I continued building and then decided that I hated what I had so far. I didn't have time to do anything about the fact that I hated my build because the sun was already setting. You know, one day in Minecraft is not as long as I think I thought it was. Beta 1.5 was mostly the same, did some building, did some resource gathering, went to bed. This stage of the game is really slow, especially when this is the top speed that you can move. In Beta 1.6, I got my first achievement, and more importantly, shift-clicking works. Kinda. Up until this point, I had to click and drag everything in and out of my inventory. Crafting is even worse because you can't click and drag, you have to click several times in succession. Tangent about the controls aside, the furnace broke. I also fell off this cliff, but landed right in front of this coal, so. I went to finish my base, but then realized that sandstone stairs don't exist yet. In Beta 1.7, I was wandering the desert, and cactus was disproportionately big when it was dropped on the ground. I finished my base! I know it's ugly. I'm trying my best. I have very limited resources. Shift-click broke again, and just like that, it's time for Beta 1.8, the Adventure Update Part 1. This update is revolutionary. Hunger, Enderman, smooth lighting, structures, food stacking, XP that doesn't do anything, and most importantly, sprinting! It was borderline unplayable before this. I did what the title commands, and mined. Staring through the windows, watching my first proper, albeit scuffed, Minecraft sunset, I closed the chapter on Beta. Release 1.0, the Adventure Update Part 2. Finally, we are at an actual release of the game, and it is very foggy. Adventure Update? Well, let's go adventuring. I picked a direction and walked, almost immediately encountering a world gen error. I mean taiga. Although spruce wood doesn't really exist yet, so not an exciting discovery. I passed out in the woods and woke up in Release 1.1, which is unnamed. I went caving, found another broken piece of world generation, broke a boat, frolicked in a field. Typical old Minecraft stuff. I was on a nostalgia trip. 1.2 is also unnamed and added jungles. Pigs kept spawning inside of the bushes, so that was a little weird. At this point, I was more than ready to go home, so I was mortified to learn that I had somehow walked almost 1,000 blocks. I began the journey back home, but instead collapsed from exhaustion. All in all, 1.2 was uneventful. 1.3 doesn't have a proper name, but I like to call it the building update because it properly added the different wood types and upside down stairs. I found this, went home, connected my islands, got confused by fences, and went to bed. 1.4, the pretty scary update, added all sorts of spooky things to the game, but none of that matters because I decided to farm. Every time a new tree is added, these ones that spawn break just a little bit more. Bone meal is wildly overpowered in this version, and just like that, it's past my bedtime. 1.5, the redstone update, but I didn't mess with any of that because I had to go through the harrowing ordeal of dragging these cows into their pen. I don't know if they were bugged or if this is just what passive mob AI was like back in the day, but it was not a fun ordeal. It almost took the entire day. With what little time I had left after dealing with these cows, I used to go mining and found diamonds almost instantly. 1.6, the horse update, added horses. This one cow bugged through the fence, so I had to go through a somehow even more difficult than last version process of getting him back. I can finally drag when crafting. It feels like the weight of the world has been lifted off of my ring and index finger. I made this cute little enchantment area where the gravel was supposed to be a placeholder for bookshelves, and then I forgot about it forever. 1.7, the update that changed the world. I consider this to be the beginning of modern Minecraft. I walked outside my base, distraught to find that the roses were gone. I didn't realize that I missed them, but I do. I really do. And now that I've had the experience of being greeted by these roses every day when walking through my door, I don't know if I can go back to poppies. I just can't do it. It's not the same. It's not even comparable. This feeling is the definition of dread. Anyway, I found another 7 diamonds and built a portal, but I'm gonna have a hard time recovering from this change. 1.8, the Bountiful update. I want to say that this is the most played version other than current release, but I don't actually know, and I don't want to look it up. Hey, my skin is working. I ventured into the Nether, and it is hideous. I forced myself to wander through this eyesore until I found the Nether Fortress to acquire blaze rods. I am not a Nether enjoyer. 1.9, the combat update, revamped the end and did nothing else. This update was loved. It spawned no controversy. If anything, it just united the community more. So I spent all of 1.9 mining. 1.10, the Frostburn update, didn't add too terribly much, probably because Mojang wasn't too comfortable making sweeping changes anymore. I wonder why that could be. It did, however, add auto jump. I killed Enderman all day and night. 1.11, the exploration update. Let's make the trek to the end. Following the Eyes of Ender out 1,000 blocks is a lot harder when you encounter a perfectly rectangular water-filled canyon. It's also difficult when boats keep doing this. Now, I don't know if that's a 1.11 thing or a constantly updating the game thing, but it kept happening. 1.12, the World of Color update. You'll never guess, but it changed the color palette. I woke up flooded with advancements and a tutorial that I could not get rid of. I dug down into the world's most scuffed stronghold, like what happened? I eventually did find the portal room and had the perfect number of eyes remaining. I had a feeling that this dragon fight wasn't going to go great, so I set my spawn. 1.13, the update Aquatic. Too bad I'll be in the end, where there's no water. This is the update that I was going to be doing the dragon fight, so I psyched myself up, stepped into the portal, and the game instantly crashed. And when I booted it back up, everything broke at the same time. There were visual glitches with water buckets, visual glitches with durability, things disappearing and then reappearing inside of my inventory, the dragon just fully de-rendering, the client freezing for several seconds. This sound? At one point, both of my monitors turned off and disconnected from my computer, and the only way to fix it was to unplug my PC entirely. I also died a bunch and lost some stuff to the void. I eventually did manage to kill the dragon and thought to myself, I don't want to break the game even more trying to enter the end again, so I'm just gonna go end busting while I'm here. So I did. I hate shulkers, by the way. 1.14, Village and Pillage. It's time for me to walk home because I don't have any rockets. I don't know whether I lost my axe and shovel in the void or if they just ceased to exist at some point. Both options seem equally likely. The journey home was totally normal. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the world generation and or how it loaded. Did I do something to break it? 1.14, the Busy Bee update. I woke up and thought to myself, what now? I don't have many updates left to do my typical late game activities, but I still have enough left that I have to do something. I decided to make a new base, one more compatible with modern styling, because my beta base, it carried me through here, but it also looks like this. I went hunting for gunpowder and bones all night, which is when I realized that for some reason the game categorizes this biome as a desert, so that's why husks kept spawning there. 1.16, the Nether update. Let me just... Alright, I've been planning that for like 8 updates now. Let's get back on track. 1.17, Caves and Cliffs Part 1. I hated this tree, so I replaced it. I went to get some birch wood and found the most egregious example of world generation yet, and built. 1.18, Caves and Cliffs Part 2. Just kept building. 1.19, the Wild update. Just building. Also, my wings didn't activate. And finally, 1.20, the Trails and Tales update. I have over 12 hours of raw footage now, and all I want to finish out this project, this experiment, is some cherry petals. But my wings are almost broken, and I don't have any way of fixing them. After everything that I dragged my blocky character through in this experiment, after all of the bugs and glitches and world generation errors and crash logs, I can't even use my favorite block to add the finishing touches on my Minecraft house? Through the past 3 real-life days that it took me to record this, all the while I was recovering from wisdom tooth surgery, I can't use my pink petals? I took it in there. That's it. That's the end. There's this like sentiment in the Minecraft community that Minecraft is losing its charm. It's too complicated. We should just go back to the good old days. After doing this project, do I agree? No! Don't get me wrong, some of those early versions were fun in like a charming, nostalgic sort of way, but there's so many of quality of life updates that I just can't live without. Sprint keys, shift clicking, mouse tweaks, debug commands, improved mob AI, the F3 screen, third person, and so much more. Now, do I recommend doing this challenge? Also no. Disregarding the fact that it barely worked, do you know how annoying it is to have to reboot your client every 10 to 20 minutes? A little side note for the outro, if you're still watching this long. I had to film this like face voiceover segment in just the dead of night because we've been getting like triple-digit weather every day here for the past 2 weeks, and the AC is, oh my god, so loud. Like, if you thought the hum from the fan in the background was annoying, imagine if I recorded the entire video like this. And I can't turn the fan off because it's 2 a.m. and like 70 degrees outside. Why does anyone live here?